February 2020. A software engineer in Austin, Texas earns $87,000 per year. By any measure, this is a good salary. He can afford a 2-bedroom apartment, a car payment, a gym membership, dinner out twice a week. He feels not rich, but secure, stable, like the system is working. February 2026. That same engineer earns $103,000 per year, an 18% raise over 6 years. His manager told him it was exceptional. His performance reviews were excellent. His compensation grew faster than most of his colleagues. He cannot afford the same apartment he rented in 2020. Iberboy the same dinner dan and Sauber 20. He cannot make his car payment and his student loan payment in the same month without choosing which one to defer. He goes out to dinner once a week and he feels guilty about it. He makes more money. He has less life. He is not imagining this. He is not bad at math. He is not failing to budget correctly. Something real is happening to his money. Something that operates beneath the surface of the economy so consistently, so invisibly, and so profitably for certain institutions that the people who benefit from it have every incentive to ensure it never gets clearly explained to the people it is happening to. You cannot protect against a mechanism you have never been shown. What is happening to your salary is not one thing. It is 5 simultaneous mechanisms, each one individually small, each one legal, each one invisible in your monthly budget, and together, over time, they constitute a permanent, ongoing transfer of purchasing power from the people who earn income through labor to the institutions and asset classes that earn income through capital. Mechanism 1 is official inflation versus experienced inflation. The Consumer Price Index is the number the government uses to measure inflation. In 2025, the CPI clocked in at roughly 3.1%, which sounds manageable, but the CPI is an average, calculated across a basket of goods and services, weighted by the spending patterns of a theoretical average American consumer. That basket includes categories that have barely moved in cost: used cars, televisions, clothing, which drag the average down. It excludes, or significantly underweights, the categories that consume the largest share of middle-class income: housing, healthcare, childcare, and higher education. From 2020 to 2025, median U.S. rent increased 31%. Healthcare premiums rose 22%. The cost of a 4-year public university increased 19%. Childcare costs in major metro areas rose between 28% and 41%. None of these increases are fully captured in the 3.1% headline number. The MIT Living Wage Project, which calculates what actual expenses cost in each U.S. county, shows that the living wage for a single adult in Austin, Texas, rose from $18.40 per hour in 2019 to $26.90 per hour in 2025. That is a 46% increase in the real cost of basic living. The CPI for that same period shows cumulative inflation of approximately 24%. The gap between those two numbers, 24% on paper, 46% in practice, is precisely where your purchasing power is disappearing. Mechanism 2 is productivity capture. American worker productivity has increased every decade since 1950. Workers produce more output per hour than they ever have. Between 1979 and 2020, U.S. productivity grew by 61%. In that same period, the hourly compensation of a typical worker grew by 17.5%. The difference, 43 percentage points of productivity growth that was not captured by workers, flowed to corporate profits, shareholder returns, and executive compensation. In 1980, the average S&P 500 CEO earned 42 times the average worker's salary. By 2024, that ratio was 324 to 1. Mechanism 3 is shrinkflation, the most elegant of the invisible transfers. You are paying the same price, you are getting less product. A bag of Doritos that was 9.75 ounces in 2019 is 9.25 ounces in 2025 at the same price point. A roll of Bounty paper towels contains 10% fewer sheets. A can of Starkist tuna that held 6 ounces now holds 5 ounces. A bar of Dove soap shrank from 4 ounces to 3.75 ounces. These are not accidents. They are systematic, coordinated repricing strategies executed by consumer goods companies during inflationary periods, strategies that effectively raise prices by 5% to 12% without changing the number on the shelf tag. The Bureau of Labor Statistics attempts to account for shrinkflation in its CPI calculations, but academic economists at Harvard and Princeton have documented that official measurements capture only 60% to 70% of actual unit size reductions. The rest passes through invisibly, untracked, unaccounted for in the inflation numbers your salary increases are pegged against. Mechanism 4 is asset price inflation. Since 2010, the Federal Reserve's quantitative easing programs injected approximately $8 trillion into the financial system. That money did not flow evenly into the economy. It inflated the prices of the assets wealthy people own: stocks, bonds, real estate, while leaving the price of labor relatively unchanged. The result is a permanent and widening gap between the return on capital and the return on labor. A person who owned $500,000 in assets in 2010 has seen those assets roughly triple in value. A person who earned $60,000 in wages in 2010 and saved nothing has seen their wage purchasing power erode. The system did not malfunction. It functioned exactly as designed. Because monetary policy was designed by people who own assets to protect assets. There is a fourth dimension to productivity capture that goes almost entirely undiscussed: the role of non-compete agreements. In 2024, the Federal Trade Commission estimated that approximately 30 million American workers, nearly 20% of the entire workforce, were bound by non-compete clauses that prevented them from leaving their current employer for a competitor or starting a competing business. Non-competes were originally designed to protect genuine trade secrets in senior executive roles. They have been extended through decades of legal drift to cover hairdressers, fast food shift managers, and warehouse workers. The economic effect of non-compete proliferation is to suppress labor mobility, the single most powerful mechanism a worker has to negotiate higher wages. When you cannot leave, your employer knows you cannot leave, and your raise reflects that knowledge. The FTC attempted to ban non-competes by rule in 2024. A federal judge in Texas struck down the ban in August of that year. 30 million workers remained constrained. The productivity capture mechanism remained intact. Mechanism 5 is fee extraction from your future self. The average American with a 401k pays between 0.5% and 1.5% annually in fund fees, administrative fees, and advisory fees. That sounds trivial. Over a 30-year career, a 1% annual fee on a $300,000 account reduces your final balance by approximately $160,000 compared to a fee-free equivalent. You are paying every year a portion of your future retirement to financial institutions, and almost nobody told you what that number actually is, because the fee is expressed as a percentage of assets, not as a dollar amount you will never have. 5 mechanisms, running simultaneously, against your salary, every month. The software engineer in Austin is not failing. He is experiencing the fully predictable outcome of a financial architecture that has been quietly optimized over decades to route an increasing share of economic growth away from wage earners and toward asset holders. Understanding the mechanism is the first step, but understanding the mechanism also means confronting an uncomfortable truth. These are not bugs in the system, they are features. They benefit specific people. Those people write policy, own media, and sit on central bank boards. The question that nobody at the Federal Reserve, nobody on the FOMC, nobody in the Treasury will answer directly is this: if the economic architecture is working exactly as intended, and the person it is working against is you, whose intention is it, and when did you vote for it?